Okay, so number 15, you were given y equal x squared plus nx plus 25, and you were asked to solve for n so that there's only one x-intercept. Okay, so remember yesterday we did discriminant. So when one intercept, two intercept, zero intercept. So if I were to set this a, b, and c, okay, I'm gonna use b squared minus 4ac. And if I want only one x-intercept, what do I set this to? Right? Equals 0. Right. Remember, one x-intercept, it means that I set this to 0. So b is n, a is 1, c is 25. So n squared minus 100 equals 0. Now I want to solve for n, so I'm going to move that 100 over. I get n squared equals 100. Okay. Now here's so square root it. Yeah, you get, and you get 10. All right. If you write this on the test and say n equals 10, you're gonna get 1 mark off. Why is that? Right? And negative 10. In the last 9 years of math, you guys just did square roots, right? N squared equals 100, so n equals square root 100. Now that you guys are in grade 10, we tell you guys that, oh, actually, there's a plus or minus. Because what is 10 times 10? What is negative 10 times negative 10? Also 100. So you actually have two different answers here. You have n equals positive 10 or n equals negative 10. Okay. So my equation, one example of an equation would be y equal x squared plus 10x plus 25, or y equals x squared minus 10x plus 25. Okay. And when I graph this parabola or graph this parabola, I'm gonna get one x-intercept. Okay. So that's what it means. It was asking you, what number does it have to be here so that I only get one x-intercept? And we solved that. It's either 10 or negative 10. So then this will be our equation, or this will be our equation. Okay. I'm gonna switch it up a little and do C. Y equals 16x squared minus 8x plus n. This time, I want you to solve for n so that I get two x-intercepts. Okay, I just changed the question up a little bit for C. Okay. So A is 16, B is negative 8, and C is n. Okay. So b squared minus 4ac. Now if I want two x-intercepts, what am I going to set this to? Okay, right? Greater than 0. Remember yesterday we did this in that bubble on the bottom of that page? If we want two x-intercepts, that means we set this to greater than 0. Okay, so b is negative 8, a is 16, c is n. Okay. This you get 64 minus 64n greater than 0. Okay. Okay, I've seen that this is a common mistake that people do. They see 64 minus 64 and then they write 0n. You cannot add or subtract a number with a variable. Okay, so how do I solve for n? How do I solve for n? What do I have to move over? Yep. Yeah, move over to 64. Okay, so just because you see 64 minus 64n, you cannot combine them. One is a number, one is a letter. So it becomes negative 64. And then now what? To solve for n, to isolate n, I would, yep, divide by negative 64. Right. Now, think back to grade 9 when you did inequalities. There was a special rule when you divide or multiply by a negative number. What do you have to do? Jay? Switch the sign. How many of you remember that? So instead of greater than, now your sign is going to be less than because we divided by a negative number. So then your answer, n is less than 1. Okay. So can somebody give me an example of an equation? So y equal 16x squared minus 8x what? Yeah. Plus 0.5. Good. Okay. Because it's less than 1. So anything less than 1 would work. One more. 16x squared minus 8x. Anything less than 1. Taisha? Minus 2. Yeah. Okay, so all of these equations, when I graph it, it's gonna it's gonna give me 2 x-intercepts. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, 64 minus 64n. I cannot combine them together because one is a constant, one is a variable term. So I have to move that 64 over to, and it becomes negative 64. And then to isolate the n, I would have to divide. Negative 64 times n, so opposite is divide. But whenever I divide by a negative number, I have to change the direction of the sign. So greater than becomes less than becomes greater than. Okay. I'm just gonna give you guys one to try. Negative 4. Let's see. Actually, wait. I want to give you guys one to try. Y equal x squared minus 4x plus n. And I want no x-intercepts. Okay, let's see if you guys can try this now. So y equals x squared minus 4x plus n, no x-intercepts. Okay, take a minute now, try it. Okay, so if the question asks how wide and tall is the arc, wide means you're looking for the x-intercept. So in this case, with the equation, I'm going to do factor then solve. When I factor out that negative, I get d squared minus 16. So I get these two factors. And when I solve for d, I get -4 and +4. I'm going to take both answers because d is a measure of horizontal distance from the center of the arc. So this all only means 4 meters to the left, 4 means meters to the right. Okay, so in that case, how wide is it? It's 8 meters wide. Looking at this equation, this is in standard form and also in vertex form. So my vertex is 0, 16. So it's right here, which is 16 meters tall. If the width is 2.5 meters for each lineup, I would just do the 8 divided by 2.5. I get 3.2 lineups. Since we can't have 0.2 of a lineup, that means there's 3 lines in total. Okay. Number 2. Again, when it says how far has it traveled horizontally, the word horizontally, when, and the ground tells you that you should be solving for x. So it means I would either factor or do the quadratic formula. Since the equation has decimals, it's probably best to do quadratic formula. So my a is negative 0.25, b is 2, c is 1.5. Sub it into the equation. You get my 2 answers. One's negative, one's positive. I'm going to reject this answer because I can't throw the ball backwards. So this is what it's referring to. So when does that ball hit the ground? After 8.7 meters horizontally. Part B also asks for horizontal distance, which means I'm again solving for quadratic formula. So with a height of 4.5 means that I'm going to substitute 4.5 for h. After I sub it in, move it over, I got it in standard form, a, b, and c. I'm going to do the quadratic formula again. When I do the quadratic formula, I get 2 answers, 2 positive answers. And this time I'm going to take both answers. I'm going to accept both because the question was asking when does the ball have a height of 4.5 meters. So at the 2 meter mark and also at the 6 meter mark. One on the way up, one on the way down. So in this case, it has 2 valid answers and I'm going to take both. Okay. Example 3 right here. Determine 2 consecutive odd numbers whose product is 323 by using the quadratic formula. So if I let x be one number, the second one would be x plus 2 because it's the odd. If it was just consecutive, it would be x and x plus 1. Okay, so product means multiplies. So I have this equals 323. Move that over. Now that I have in standard form, I can do A, B, and C. Okay, substitute it into the quadratic formula and solve. And so you get your 2 answers, x equals 17 and x equals negative 19. But wait, when I multiply these two, I don't get the 323. I get negative 323. And that's because x is 17. My second number is represented by x plus 2, which means the second number is 19. So in this case, I have this answer where one number is 17, one number is 19, and when I multiply it, I get the 323. On the other hand, when x is negative 19, I add 2 to that, I'm going to get negative 17. That's my second number. So negative 19 times negative 17, I also get 323. And so in this question, I actually have 2 sets of answers, and I'm going to accept both x value. Okay? So that's the lesson. This is the homework. And if you want a challenge, it's these 2 questions here.